Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about content predictions for this weekend's content here in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM. Not that we really care that much at this point in the year, to be totally honest, but we're coming down to the last couple weeks of content for the year in terms of actual new cards. If it's anything like what previous years of MyTEAM have been, we got 2 more weeks here in Season 8. So we got this Friday and next Friday as our final content drops of the year, I assume, because I don't think we'll get new content on Season 9. I guess that's not totally true. We'll get new Season 9 content. There will be like a new level 40 and some stuff like that, but we're probably not going to get a whole new pack drop in Season 9. We're probably just going to get G.O.A.T Invincible packs or something along those lines as like the final pack of the year with all the previous cards they've dropped in it. And that is probably what endgame will look like, is my guess. So we got 2 more Friday drops, I'm guessing, for them to go crazy with the GOAT Festival and give us the most crazy names ever and every single tallest player who's ever lived in the NBA and all that type of stuff over the next couple of weeks to try to make as much money as possible. Because, I mean, why wouldn't they? At the end of the day, they are a business and they do want our money here, even in Season 8. I mean, the amount of people who are out here, I don't think there's a ton of Bulls and Symbolars flying around, but I know there's a few of them. People are still spending money on this game and people are still getting to use these cards and having success with them, which hey, I mean, have fun with them if you have them, I guess, but I just don't want to be spending money to get them. That's what I'll say. Even if they are the best, like Bull's best small forward, Bender's the best shooting guard from last week, at the same time, they're still not, I don't know, you know what I mean, not worth spending hundreds of dollars to get, in my opinion. And for Bull and Sim, it's a lot more than that, unless you are grinding a truly absurd amount. But that being said, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm a little indifferent on whatever content comes out. My main hope with the content is the same that it's been for the last few drops, which is basically that we get good 100 overalls and good dark matters. You know what I mean? Good cards with size who can compete against top tier options. Like Danilo Gallinari last week was interesting, but I'd say as a whole, the 100 overalls last week were a little bit underwhelming. Matt Harpering was a really good dark matter. Pokashevsky's solid. Jeremy Sohan would have been better if his jumper was better. Gerald Green's fine, but not great. Realistically, I feel like last week's drop was a little bit more underwhelming in terms of having multiple high level options, but we got time. And I mean, this week they have big opportunity, because I will say, we're probably going to get some form of most of these guys over the next couple weeks, I would think, between these giants. And maybe we get some really good, like, cheaper versions. Like, we have a dark matter Mark Eaton, for example. Could we get a 100 overall Mark Eaton? Same thing with Rick Smits and Taco Fall. Could they get 100 overall versions? Or with Taco specifically, Taco will probably be in the GOAT Fest. Real quickly, before we do anything else, let's just talk about the GOAT Festival real quickly, actually, because we'll talk about the regular pack drop, but real quickly, we can talk about the GOAT Festival. They dropped 8 cards in the GOAT Festival last week. They probably will again this week, which means there will be a couple of cheaper, more troll players, and then there will be a couple of 60-piece super expensive players, and that probably will be like Taco Fall and I don't know, some super tall point guard or something probably would be my guess. I wouldn't be surprised if they just throw somebody who's 6'11" at point guard and call it a day and put them for like 60 pieces or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised at all by that. I do expect like Danny Ferry, Terry Dishinger make a lot of sense to me as 2 guys who haven't gotten cards in a long time who feel like GOAT Festival type players as like my team GOATs. I could definitely see those guys getting cards. I don't know who they're really going to drop, though, honestly, besides that. Like, it could be anybody. Again, they dropped Derrick Rose in the GOAT Festival last week, and Ty Lue. Didn't expect those players to be getting GOAT Festival cards. You know what I mean? I thought Derrick Rose would be in a regular pack drop. The fact you have to spend money to get Derrick Rose, I mean, I guess you could grind the pieces for him, but at this point, it's too late. So if you didn't grind them, you can't anymore. Now you got to spend money for them regardless if you want them. But I don't know. I just think that's kind of lame for people who are like D-Rose fans, for example. If your favorite players like Gate kept behind this, or Lonzo Ball, or whoever else it might be, LaMelo, whatever. But I don't know. The GOAT Festival is going to be filled with a bunch of super good, super glitchy cards who are extremely expensive. And my only main prediction for the GOAT Festival this week is we're going to get a Taco. And if we don't get a Taco, we're going to get a Manute Bol or a George Merson. I'll say that right now. One of those 3 players will be 100%. Okay, 95% in the GOAT Festival this week, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get 2 of the 3 in the next 2 weeks of the GOAT Festival. I would expect that. I mean, they already dropped Sean Bradley. They already dropped Symbolar. There's got to be more giants coming. I can tell you that. We got with getting Bull, Jonathan Bender, and Symbolar all last week. I mean, you can tell 2K is going full on height. So anybody else who's really, really tall who could get a card like that, I wouldn't be surprised to see either. I don't know who those other guys would be. There aren't very many 7'3" small forward type guys like Bull, but Wouldn't be surprised to see another one. I'm really not off the top of my head certain who that would be, but I'm sure that they can come up with more. That being said, outside of that, I mean, I just don't care that much about the Go Festival because those players aren't going to be attainable regardless. So what I care more about, like I'm saying, is these Dark Matters, these 100 overalls, and honestly, these Invincibles, because the Invincibles get cheaper too. And I would like to see 2K mix in some more creative names. Like I just think 2K has, for example, from season 1, we get this this Diamond ML car. He hasn't gotten a card since. This was a really good card on day 1. I liked this ML car card. Why has ML car not gotten a card since day 1? Why have we gotten 47,000 Victor Wembanyama's and not a single other ML car? Like, I'd like to see a little more variety and creativity in the content of bringing in some of these older names of guys who could still be good cards. Karl Malone, by the way, is another interesting name just because he hasn't gotten very many cards. I think 2K doesn't give Karl Malone as many cards or as many high tier cards as other NBA legends do, just because he's not as popular, but he doesn't have anything higher than a Dark Matter. I would not be surprised to see like an Invincible Karl Malone this weekend. I will say that. Ronnie Cycli did get a Galaxy Opal, but he was an interesting card. I wouldn't hate a 100 overall version of him as like a 7-foot power forward. It could be a solid card. I'm just looking through these older drops and looking at names of guys who we haven't gotten in a long time. Who else could we get who'd be really good at this point in the year? Artist Gilmore has a Dark Matter. I'd like another Dark Matter, another Artist Gilmore type card. I think he was good. I definitely would not mind using him at all. I think if he were to get a better card, that'd be sick. I want at least a couple really, really good bigs this weekend. At least one. What I'm really hoping for more than anything else, it's why I've mentioned Mark Eaton and Rick Smits and Artist Gilmore and guys like that. The only truly extremely elite, like somewhat attainable center is Big Z. Because look, I like Opal Wemby. I like Dark Matter Taco. I like Dark Matter Rick Smits, guys like that. But they're not nearly as good as these super insane GOAT bigs. And while I don't think we need to be getting a completely free version, I mean, I would love to see one, right, of that type of big. I would also love to see a 100 overall George Marathon or a 100 overall Rick Smits or somebody along those lines for a relatively reasonable price. Guys who have that level of size that are 7'2", 7'3", 7'4", 7'5", etc., and can really compete at the highest level against these GOAT bigs. Somebody who's 90 speed and has a fast jumper and decent sigs. I mean, it's in-game my team. Let's give people cards who can compete against the best of the best for reasonably attainable price points, in my opinion. I think that is a completely reasonable request, and I'm hoping to see that because I do think that the big man position has gotten a bit weaker in terms of attainable cards as of late. I would also, of course, love another 6'8", 6'9", 100 overall point guard, somebody like that. I have no idea who that would be because in all likelihood, that's probably not a position player unless it's somebody like a Delano Banton. If we were to get like a Dark Matter Delano Banton that has really souped animations, that could be a really fire card. I will say I would love to see that, but I really don't know for sure if that's something that we will actually see here in the near future or anything like that. I'm not even sure if I'll get another card this year, but I'd love like a souped Delano Banton, souped Dyson Daniels. If they had Isak Bongas rights, I'd love him to get a card, but I don't think they do. I will say for GOAT cards, I do think we'll be getting a couple guys who have invincible players, but don't as of yet have GOAT players. The number one player on that list to me is Magic Johnson. He is probably the best NBA player in NBA history to not have a GOAT card at this point. At least I think. I'm not 100% certain about that, but I do think he probably is the player with the who I would say overall has had the best NBA career who doesn't have a GOAT card. I'm kind of surprised he doesn't have a GOAT card, especially considering he's a 6'9" point guard. I feel like he is an absolute headlining player for a GOAT card at this point in the year, and I think that one would make a lot of sense. I will say another player who makes a lot of sense to me as getting a GOAT player is Carmelo Anthony. I know he got this free, or he got his Invincible, then he got the free Invincible from the locker code, but he also doesn't have a GOAT card. He is getting a cover in 2K26, or is he really not going to get a GOAT card at all in 2K25? That would surprise me. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't have a GOAT card, and he just won an NBA championship as well as finals MVP and regular season MVP. Like, he had the perfect season and he's not going to get a GOAT card. That would surprise me as well. Those three guys are all names that to me feel like they absolutely need a GOAT card and haven't as of yet gotten one. So that's interesting to discuss as well. I think two of those three players makes a lot of sense. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Shea, Melo, and somebody else, or Magic, Melo, and somebody else, or even Magic, Shea, and somebody else. Something like that does feel like it makes a little bit of sense to me. But at the same time, I'm completely and utterly confident that that's what we're going to get for sure. You know what I mean? I think it's decently possible that we don't get any of those guys, and 2K just drops super. I mean, Magic's tall though, so I feel like Magic makes a lot of sense. Who else could we get in terms of bigs who hasn't gotten an invincible? I mean, I don't think, or a GOAT card, I should say. I don't think Taco is going to get a card in packs, but I wouldn't be completely and utterly shocked by it because 2K does know he would sell packs. I just feel like they probably put him in the GOAT festival. Do we really get a GOAT of any of the other really tall players in packs at this point in the year? I feel like probably not. None of the guys left are really that great. They gave us GOAT Wimby, they gave us GOAT Yao. I don't think any of these other GOAT bigs are likely good enough to really be in packs. I think as players, they're probably more so GOAT festival type of players. So I don't know, to be totally honest. I think at that point, that's kind of, I don't really know who the last GOAT card would be, to be totally honest. I don't have a name off the top of my head anyway who's like, I'm surprised that guy hasn't gotten a GOAT card yet. Maybe Patrick Ewing. He makes sense to me. I think he might be the best. Who's the best big in NBA history to not have a GOAT card right now? Kareem's got one. Wilt's got one. Shaq has got one. Bill Russell, they don't have his rights. Wilt has one. I would say, I mean, most of the guys have one. You know what I mean? Maybe KP gets an invincible, but not because of his GOAT card, but not because of him deserving one. Maybe just because of him being tall and a popular 2K name. I don't know. I maybe Patrick Ewing. I'm really not sure who the third GOAT player is going to be in this week's drop. I don't know. We'll see. But that being said, that is going to do it for the video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.